Robert James Fischer needs no introduction. He is a legend, and rightly so. His records are astounding. He won the U.S. Championship at the tender age of 14 and subsequently won that title 6 more times, including the 63-64 championship with a perfect score of 11-0. Fischer was the consummate fighting player with a demonic will to win that overwhelmed his opponents. He was like a force of nature on the chessboard, sometimes a tornado, sometimes an earthquake, and once in a great while, a fog. In the early 1970s, Fischer went from great to incredible as he topped one amazing feat after another. His 12.5, 8.5 win over Boris Spassky in the 1972 Reykjavik title bout was his crowning achievement, but somehow seems eclipsed by his incredible results of the year before. In 1971, Fischer climbed the heights of chess immortality by defeating grandmasters Mark Taimanov and Bent Larsen in successive matches by the incredible scores of 6-0. These spectacular victories led to a match with ultra-solid former world champion Tigran Petrosian to determine a challenger to Boris Spassky, the reigning world champion at the time. After a slow start, Fischer ended up crushing Petrosian 6.5, 2.5 to set up his famous title match with Spassky. In the opinion of many, including myself, Fischer's win in Game 1 of his match with Bent Larsen is one of the greatest games of all time. Much credit must go to Larsen, who seemed to be matching Fischer blow for blow during the game, only to falter just near the end.
E4, E6, D4, D5, Knight C3, Bishop B4, E5, Knight E7, A3. Bishop takes C3 check. B takes C3. C5.
Larsen has chosen the winnower variation of the French defense, one of the few openings that gave Fischer troubles during his chess career. The positions reached are very imbalanced. White has a strong center and a dangerous pair of bishops, but Black has speedy development and good play against White's doubled c-pawns. It has long been a favorite defense of counterattackers, with Victor Korchnoi one of its most outstanding practitioners.
A4.
White hopes to develop his bishop to A3, while also preventing Black from setting up a blockade on the A4 square.
Knight B C6. Knight F3. Bishop D7. Bishop D3. Queen C7. Castle kingside. C4.
This is a very risky move by Bent Larsen. Although he manages to drive back one of the bishops, he's also voluntarily opened up the A3 F8 diagonal. The Danish Grandmaster hopes to attack and diminish White's center before the dark-squared bishop can become active, but Fischer has other ideas.
Bishop E2. F6. Rook E1. Knight G6. Bishop A3.
A very strong pawn sacrifice that gives Fischer a strong initiative.
F takes E5. D takes E5. Knight C takes E5. Knight takes E5. Knight takes E5. Queen D4.
Classic centralization by Fischer. The queen takes the high ground where she can exert influence in all directions.
Knight G6.
Larsen would like to get his king out of harm's way with castles, but queen takes A7 is just too strong. The strange-looking H5 is more difficult to refute. But I like White after Rook B1, Knight C6, Queen H4, attacking H5, King F7, F4, with play similar to the actual game.
Bishop H5. King f7.
Safer but somewhat joyless for black is the ending that arises after castles. Queen captures a7, b6, queen a8 check, queen b8, queen captures b8 check, king captures b8, bishop captures g6, white's best try, h captures g6, bishop e7, rook d8, bishop d6 check, king b7, and now a5 to open up the black king position. B captures a5, rook captures a5, king c6, and now bishop e5. Kind of a long-winded variation, I agree, but all pretty much forced. Only white can win this ending, but black has definite drawing chances. Bent Larsen loves to take risks, and he decided his best chances lay in the middle game.
f4.
Fischer quickly plays to blow open the position in order to energize his range-starved pair of bishops. He plans to punch through black's wall of pawns with f4, f5.
Rook h e8. f5. E takes f5. Queen takes d5 check. King f6. Bishop f3.
I think bishop d6 was more accurate. Black has several alternatives here. Let's take a look at them. First, queen c6 loses very quickly to queen d4 check, king f7, bishop f3. And black's going to get crushed by a killer check on d5. Second choice, queen b6 loses to bishop c5, queen c7, h4. That sets up a devastating check on d4. The best black can then hope for is the pathetic rook e5, bishop d4. Finally, the apparent best defense after bishop d6 is queen c8, but that leads to a crushing white attack after bishop f3, bishop c6, queen d4 check, king f7, queen takes c4 check, king f6 forced, queen d4 check, king f7, bishop d5 check, bishop takes d5, queen takes d5 check, king f6, and now g4 rips into black's king position with decisive effect.
Knight e5.
Beautiful play by the Danish Grandmaster. Larsen seizes his chance, basing his defense on a powerful counterattack.
Queen d4. King g6. Rook takes e5.
Brilliant blow is met by brilliant blow. Fischer had to see very deeply into the position to judge that he could survive black's coming heavy artillery barrage along the central files. He saw that black's exposed king would allow for a tactical defense at the critical moment.
Queen takes e5. Queen takes d7. Rook a d8. Queen takes b7. Queen e3 check.
Larsen missed the much better queen takes c3, forcing the passive queen b1. In that case, black has rook e5, which gives him a good position thanks to his tremendous centralization. There's that word again.
King f1. Rook d2. Queen c6 check. Rook e6. Bishop c5.
Incredibly, Fischer holds his position together. This fantastic move eliminates the mate threats and forces black to simplify to a difficult endgame.
Rook f2 check. King G1. Rook takes G2, check. King takes G2. Queen D2, check. King H1. Rook takes C6. Bishop takes C6. Queen takes C3.
Probably not best. This move allows Fischer to create a powerful passed A-pawn that can be escorted up the board by the pair of bishops. Better was A5 to stop white from getting a passed pawn.
Rook G1, check. King F6. Bishop takes A7. G5.
Larsen plays the losing move. Queen takes C2 would keep the outcome in doubt, as seen in the variation Bishop D5 check, King E7, Bishop C5 check, King F6, or A5, Queen D3, A6, C3, Bishop B7, C2, Bishop B6 trying to get that pawn home. Nope, Queen D6 stopping, A7, Queen takes B6, A8 equals Queen, and now Queen takes G1 check, and Black should draw.
Bishop B6. Queen takes C2. A5.
The passed A-pawn is unstoppable. The bishops not only serve as perfect escorts of the A-pawn, but they ably protect white's king.
Queen B2. Bishop D8 check. King E6. A6. Queen A3. Bishop B7. Queen C5. Rook B1. C3. Bishop B6.
A marvelous game, fascinating in all phases. Fischer was a little hesitant pressing his attack, but soon hit his stride with a spectacular sequence that started with 22 Queen D4. This one was a real nail-biter that deserves its rank as one of the great games of all time.